My name's Emma and I'm the coordinator of the Illawarra Transition to School program, funded by the Department of Communities and Justice and managed by Big Fat Smile. I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of our land and pay my respects to the elders, past, present and emerging. Transitioning to school is one of the most significant milestones a child will experience in their young life, and this extends well before and after the child's first day. Having a positive start to school enables children to develop strong foundations for future learning and life outcomes. We have put this webinar together for families to be provided with practical information and tips on how to support their child in a smooth and successful transition to kindergarten. We will hear from a local teacher, a parent and a child starting kindergarten to gain their perspectives and experience on their school readiness journey. We hope you enjoy this resource. Please refer to the links at the end of the video for more information on how to support your child in their transition to school. Okay, all right Alyssa, so you're here today to talk to us about starting big school because you started big school this year, didn't you? Awesome.
Learning.
You like learning? Can you tell me a bit more about what you learn when you're at school? What do you learn about?
Sharing. Writing.
Writing. What do you write with? Do you still use like crayons and texters like you did at preschool?
Lead pencil.
Lead pencil, very good. And what kind of things do you write about?
Sharing groups. Learning how to write. Doing maths.
Can you tell us some maths?
Equal groups.
What is that? I don't know what that means. Can you tell me a bit more about equal groups?
Equal groups mean that there's the exact same amount in the exact same squares. 100 plus 100 is 200. If they could play with me and they said yes.
And what kind of things do you play in the playground?
We play tip, chaos. We do cartwheels and handstands together.
Really? So do you have a really big grassy playground that you get to do all those things on? That sounds like a fun place to go. Are there many toys to play with when you're in the playground or do you have to make up your games yourself?
There's trucks, hula hoops and skipping ropes.
Okay, and you get to use all of those with your friends? Awesome.
So we go and tell the teachers. In preschool, you have to, you could wear whatever you want, and in big school you have to wear uniforms each day.
You like wearing your school uniform? Yeah. What colours are they?
Blue.
Okay. And is there anything else that's different about big school and preschool? Can you remember? It was a little while ago that you were at preschool now, wasn't it? Do you remember anything else that was different?
In preschool, you don't do writing, and in big school, you do.
But what did you used to do colouring in and some drawing and that sort of thing at preschool?
Yeah.
Awesome. And that probably helped you learn how to write because you were learning how to hold pencils. Very good.
Getting the right answers.
And who helps you get the right answers?
We have to try figure it out ourselves.
Okay. And what if it's a really tricky question and you can't figure it out yourself? Who can give you some help?
Our teachers.
Awesome. And are they always there to help you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really good.
When I play with my friends.
Yeah? Awesome. And what do you like to play with your friends?
We play tip.
Yeah.
And on birthdays we give out cakes and lollipops.
Do you get to do anything special at school like other than when you're doing your reading and your maths, do you get to do like music or is there some dancing?
Music and dancing. We dance when the music's on and Sometimes when it's off, we have to freeze. In sport, we play rob the nest.
Rob the nest. How do you play that?
So there's 2 teams. There's boys against girls, and there's hoops, and you get pegs and you have to put them in the middle, and whoever gets them, you have to rob the pegs and put them in your hula hoop. What colour spot? What colour is the sun spot? It is yellow. What colour is the bush spot? It is brown. What colour is the flower spot? It is purple. What colour is the book spot? It is blue. What colour is your bag spot? It is red.
Good girl.
Hi, I'm Kate. I'm an early childhood teacher and a mum of 2 girls. My oldest is 7 and my youngest is 5. She's going off to school next year. So I just wanted to share some of my experience with you all at home. In the lead up to big school, a lot of the support required is giving them background of what to expect. Fortunately, both my girls went to preschool before starting school, so they knew a little bit about what it is to make friends, how to engage in a playground, and how to sort out disagreements. I think that's a really big one, giving them the vocabulary that they need to sort out disagreements or small issues they might have with peers, because there's not always a teacher there in the playground. They do need to have the confidence to be able to back themselves and to look after themselves in social situations like play. How do they introduce themselves to a friend? We had lots and lots of discussions about that in the lead up to school. So I think pretty much every child and family is going to be nervous at the start of school. It's a new experience. Even if they're returning to school, they're going to be nervous because they might not know what class they're in. The children might be slightly different. Someone might have moved. Someone might have got a haircut. It's all a new experience. So the teachers are really good at getting to know the children. They'll spend time in the first week getting to know the children. If they need some assistance to separate, the teachers have been really good at giving the children a cuddle, taking them from their family and getting them settled on those first few days. So give yourself some time and just ask for help. That's what they're there for. Absolutely not. That's their job. I've actually had a few teachers tell me that they prefer their children not to be forming letters incorrectly, because if they are, they have to relearn them. So I call them a tricky E with my daughter. It's part of her name. She prefers to do it as a capital, but we've been working really hard on the tricky E. The teachers would love it if they can recognise their name. They don't have to write it perfectly. That's what they're going to learn at school. And reading, that's what they do at school. Teachers will always recommend you read with your children every night for about 20 minutes, because that sets them up for recognising sounds and flows of stories. And that's what they need. They need that love of learning and the love of reading before they go to school, not knowing how to write and read. Absolutely. The teachers are there to do the best that they can by your child. Generally at the start of the year, pre-COVID, you would have a meet and greet with the teachers where they'd give you a tour of the classroom and set up their philosophy with you. I'm not sure if this will be going ahead next year, but there's always ways to speak to the teacher. You can grab them at drop-off and organise a time, or you can call the school and they can organise a time to call you back that works for both of you. But there's absolutely avenues to chat with your teacher, because you both want what's best for your child. Those first few days are really hard. You've got the anxiety of something brand new for both parent and child. You've got, from a parent's perspective, are they going to eat? Are they going to make friends? What if they're by themselves in the playground? And you don't have as firm a connection as you do with preschool generally. They do sometimes have apps, but they don't generally update them as much as in the preschool environment. I know my big concern when my eldest started school was, is she going to eat enough? Is she going to make friends? Is she going to be able to go to the toilet. Is she going to find everything she needs? But they do. They all get together. The kindy teachers are amazing and support each child. They're available for them, particularly in the first few weeks, to help them build those social bonds, and they do get there. My advice would be, try not to show your child how anxious you are, because you will be anxious. It's a big change for both of you. Stay strong for them, and then have a little cry in the car as you drop them off. Try and make drop-offs as quick and positive as possible, because that will help reduce their anxiety as well. I found in the first few weeks that my daughter didn't eat as much as I expected her to. I totally overpacked food. So they won't eat as much as you think they will, because they want to play. They don't want to sit and eat their lunch. They're going to use the minimum time and eat what they absolutely have to. So make sure what you pack is something that they will eat and is nutritious. The other thing to think about is, what are they going to do in the playground? My daughter did get dropped off quite early because I have to go to work. So she would like to have something in her bag to play in those morning times or at recess and lunch. At that stage, it was handball that they really enjoyed, so I packed a labelled handball, and then they moved on to skipping, so I packed a labelled skipping rope. I also did at one stage pack her some drawing pages and a pen and pencils, because that's what she decided she wanted to do. They will eventually form friendships and find their own activities to do, but having something in their pocket that they can invite a friend to play is really, really helpful in those opening weeks at school, particularly if it's something they're confident with, like a handball or a skipping rope. They will be very tired at the end of the day, because it's a big change. Even if they've gone to preschool 5 days a week, they're a lot more self-guided at preschool. At school, it's a lot more directed, and they are expected to focus on things that require quite a lot of brain power. They will learn so much in their first month that any differences at the start of the school year will be quickly eliminated, because they learn so much so fast. It's different from school to school, but my daughter's school opens and they're supervised from 8:30 before they start at 9. My understanding is that they do literacy in the morning, they have recess break, then they'll do maths and science after recess, and then they have a lunch break. During lunch and recess, the children do have access to play and free activities outside. So they have a sandpit at my daughter's school, which she just loved. She still came home with sand in her shoes, even at big school, still does. After lunch, they tend to do something a bit more fun and creative, and they still have access to free play opportunities. It is a lot more structured than the preschool environment, but they are still given plenty of opportunities to explore through play. That's how children learn. They consolidate their learning through play. So they're given plenty of opportunities to do that at school. The biggest one for me was the anxiety of making friends. I was really, really worried in the first month that she'd never make any friends, and that she'd be lonely and bored at recess and lunch. So that was my anxiety, not hers. She was having a great time. After about a month, she started telling me the names of the people she was playing with, and she was able to actually share some of her friendships with me. They were there, she just didn't remember. The other thing I would always recommend is get involved in the school as much as you can. It doesn't take much just to attend a P&C meeting once a month, get involved on the committee, because it gives you a point of contact within the school. It means that you're involved in what's going on, and you get a bit of a say in the direction of the school, and get to know the principal, because the principals are amazing and their ideas are really, really valuable, and it's a great point for you to share a point of contact with the school as well. But above all, enjoy the time. They're only little once. They're only going to go through this experience once. Don't stress about how fast they're learning. Don't stress about what they're learning. Try not to take away from the experience for yourself and your child. It's a once in a lifetime. They're going to be in school for a really long time, but they're only going to be in kindy once. So enjoy the time. Take the time to enjoy it with your child, and read lots and lots of books.
Hi, I'm Mel Bowden and I work here at Coonawarra Public School, which is a suburb of the Dapto area. I'm the instructional leader here, and I work alongside the K-2 teachers, and one of my main roles is to work with the transition to school from preschool to kindergarten. So I work alongside the kindergarten teachers and the preschool teachers to ensure that your child has a smooth transition to school here at Coonawarra Public School. Well, basically, a good teacher that you'd be meeting in kindergarten would be one that definitely would be meeting the child where they're at. So it's really important that not to think that your child should be at any point or any developmental milestone, that the teacher will take the child where they're at and establish what they need to then move forward in line with the outcomes that kindergarten are meeting in a year.
Ready.
Okay, so we think here at our school that play-based learning is such an important part of the transition to school process. We find that it's a continuation of the early years framework that preschool teachers would be using, and play is such an important part of learning for children who are 4, 5 and 6. We ensure that when children come and are getting comfortable with the surroundings of kindergarten, that it's in that play-based learning, play-based environment, and we make sure that that continues on to the next year of kindergarten, where for the first month we have a play-based curriculum as well. We slowly then transition the children out of the play-based environment into a more formal school setting, where we still have elements of play in that, but have formal instruction as well. Start assessment is something that your child will encounter in the first 4 to 6 weeks of school. Here at our school, we like to get to know the children before we actually sit down one-on-one just to see what they know. But in other schools, you may find that you have an appointment that you come and you see your teacher, and the child will sit one-on-one before they start school. Either way, don't be worried about that particular assessment. It's not a test, it's an assessment. And an assessment is something where the teacher sits one-on-one for about 40 minutes with your child to see what they know, in order for us as teachers to know where to start teaching from. So it's about just finding out what they know about reading, writing, maths, their counting skills, the alphabet, their speaking skills. And again, it's nothing that we can get ready for. It's something that we do as teachers just to find out where 20 kids are at, and that informs our program of what we're then going to teach for the whole of the first term. Lots of parents ask kindergarten teachers about what they can do to get their child ready for school, and really there is nothing you can do to make your child ready for school. School teachers are looking for kids who are independent, who are able to regulate their emotions, they're able to socialise well, and the academic stuff, writing your name, counting, learning your letters and alphabet, are something that we do, and our job of teachers to teach kids here in kindergarten. It's really important that you talk to your child's preschool teacher around how they're travelling socially and emotionally, and they're the sorts of things that you can support in getting your child ready for school. If you do have any concerns about your child with their social and emotional needs, they're the things that the kindergarten teachers really want to know about in communicating how they're travelling in getting dressed, going to the toilet, being independent. Being away from you is another big one. Often schools will have sessions where the kids and the parents are separated, so we can see how the child travels on their own. Really, social and emotional learning is the big part of transition to school, and it's making sure that then your child feels comfortable emotionally when they start kindergarten, so they have success. There are lots of things that parents can do at home to support their children in transitioning to school around literacy and numeracy activities. Parents are actually the first teachers of their children, and you'll probably find that you're doing a lot of these things that I'll talk about already. Reading is one of the really big ones that you can do to help your child, and not that you're expecting your child to learn to read, but read to them. There's lots of local libraries where you can go and borrow books, so you don't have to purchase them. But lots of reading street signs, reading things around the house, lots of things there. Writing is another easy one to do. You're going to encourage your child to make as many marks as possible with whatever they can. So chalk outside in writing their name, or even if they're still writing squiggles, that's perfectly fine as well. Texters, pencils, you don't even have to buy the most expensive ones, and scrap paper is one of the easiest things that you can get to scribble all over and draw. Drawing is another really important thing that you can encourage because it's telling a story and making a mark, And when you ask your child to talk about their drawings, that's a really important one too, because then you're encouraging their oral language and their speaking skills. Maths is a really easy and fun one. What you can do at home is play lots of games. So snakes and ladders, using dice, their counting skills, ask them to count the dots on the dice. Big dice are nice and easy to use, which you can get for really cheap. And taking turns, moving the counter along as well, are lots of things that you can do. The other thing you can do that's quite simple with counting is counting stairs, walking up and down outside in the house, counting the stairs so the child gets to know a number with how many things or how many steps they've taken. One of the big questions that we get as kindergarten teachers is, how do I contact you if I'm unsure of something? Or sometimes even parents don't ask that question, they're just anxious about letting a teacher know something about their child. We take very seriously all the issues and concerns that you have as parents, because you're entrusting us with your little possums. It's really important that you do reach out to the teacher in whatever way you can and whatever way you feel comfortable. Normally we would have transition sessions where the teacher would be meeting you and talking with you before they come to school, and you'd have a chance to actually talk about all those issues and concerns you have or questions. At this time of the year, things are a little bit different, but please don't find that COVID restrictions and parents not being allowed on site in schools as a hindrance to you talking to your teacher. There's lots of different ways that you can reach out and make contact. The first way that you can do that is by telephone, and you could call the school office. That will then either get a message to the teacher to give you a call back, or make an appointment. You are allowed to come in for an appointment and sit down and have a session. There are lots of other ways. There is email. Every teacher has an email account that you can reach out to. If you don't know that, you can go to the school email account, send email. Lots of schools are using platforms such as Dojo or Seesaw that you can ask about, and you may be able to contact, which is a bit like sending them a message. And of course, just make appointments if you need to have time with the school, not just the teacher, if you have any major medical concerns or big issues with your child. And of course, after transition finishes and your child starts school, another one of the big things for kindergarten parents, especially first-time kindergarten parents, is how do I talk to my teacher about how my child is going? Because in preschool, you have the drop-off and pick-up time where teachers or educators are always speaking with you about your child. That doesn't stop for us as teachers, and that's part of our job. Usually, drop-offs in the morning are a really, really hectic time for kindergarten teachers, because if you think there's 20 parents all at the same time, and it's really hard to remember all the messages that you have to tell. If it's really important, send a little note along with your child, or make a phone call to the school, and maybe make an appointment if you need to talk about things at length. Afternoons are usually a good time to talk about how your child has gone, but remember there are 20 other parents waiting for pickup as well. So if it's something sensitive, again, it's probably not the time after school to do those sorts of conversations. But it's always important that if you have a concern that you express it to your child's teacher, to the assistant principal, to the office ladies, to someone, so at least we can do something about it. Lots of stories come back to us where the child's gone home upset, and they tell you in bedtime, bath time, and then you might find that you get very emotional. Remember, we can't do anything if we don't know about it, so always make contact. And if there are COVID restrictions, teachers will get around those in some way in order to let you know through photos, through Facebook, through Dojo, through Seesaw, about what's happening in your child's day and how you can be in contact with them. Never be anxious or never be worried about talking about problems or issues. Always make sure that communication is the best way to sort out these things.